And God said, "Let there be
The
light."
Lord says, "Let my people go."
I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
This is the Talkin' Bible podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome to today's episode of Talkin' Bible. We're continuing our theme of finding peace, trusting God, finding faith, having faith in the midst of the challenges, the anxieties, the worries, the cares of life. And today we're going to a story that I've preached on this plenty of times. I really love this passage because it shows me something about, well, I resonate with this dad. I resonate with this father and the words that come out of his mouth. And I love the fact that Jesus meets him where he's at. So this is a well-known story. Immediately before, it's found in Mark chapter 9, verse 14. Immediately before this, Jesus has been on the Mount of Transfiguration with Peter, James, and John, and they've seen his glory and been amazed to get a glimpse of who he is. And then he comes down off the mountain, and immediately the story says, when they returned to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd surrounding them, and some teachers of religious law were arguing with them. I've got the whole verse in front of me, but I'm going to read the whole verse. Bear with me for a minute. Mark chapter 9. Did I say 9? Yes, it is. So the teachers of the law were crowding around. There's all this commotion. Verse 15, when the crowd saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with awe, and they began to greet him. What's all this arguing about, Jesus says? And verse 17, one of the men in the crowd spoke and said, "Teacher, I brought you my son so you could heal him. He's possessed by an evil spirit that won't let him talk. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him violently to the ground. He foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast out the evil spirit, but they couldn't do it." Jesus said, "You faithless people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought the boy, and when the evil spirit saw Jesus, it threw the child into a violent convulsion. He fell to the ground, writhing and foaming at the mouth. "How long has this been happening?" Jesus asked the boy's father. He replied, "Since he was a little boy. The spirit often throws him into the fire and into the water trying to kill him. Have mercy on us and help us if you can." "What do you mean, if I can?" Jesus asked. "Anything is possible if a person believes." The father instantly cried out, "I do believe, but help me overcome my unbelief." And when Jesus saw the crowd of onlookers was growing, he rebuked the evil spirit. Listen, you spirit that makes this boy unable to hear and speak. Get out, leave him, don't come back." Spirit screamed, threw the boy into another violent convulsion, and left the boy, and the boy appeared dead. And a murmur ran through the crowd. "He looks like he's dead." Jesus took him by the hand, held him to his feet, and stood up. And afterwards, Jesus was alone with his disciples. They said, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" And he replied, "They can cast out only through prayer." Now, I would have talked about this passage multiple times in our conversations on our podcast, but we're talking here about faith and overcoming doubt and unbelief. So with this story, it's good just to imagine. I like to imagine it. I'm a father and a grandfather. I like to imagine what it's like to be this dad, to have a child. Some of you might know, to have a child that is so tormented, either mentally or physically or through some disability or some kind of hardship. And it's really tough, and it is very, very difficult to just switch on faith, and go, "Oh, everything's okay," because sometimes the hardest problems are actually problems with those we love. If it was happening to you, you might be okay, but when it's happening to someone else that you love, you care for, that you're responsible for, that seems even harder. I'm sure this dad would have said plenty of times, if I could take this pain away, I would. He comes to Jesus because he knows that Jesus can do something about it. He's got that kind of faith there. And what I love is that this shows the tension between faith and doubt, that they're not polar opposites to each other. We often think faith and doubt are opposite. Well, most scholars say, actually, even theologically, most scholars agree faith and doubt aren't pitched against each other. Faith and fear are pitched against each other, but not faith and doubt. Because fear gets in the way. We've been talking a lot about that. Ultimately, anxiety and worry is us fearing about worst case scenario, and then basically it's faith in worst case scenario. It's still faith. We're still exercising faith. We're just putting our faith into what could be the worst thing that could happen, not the best thing that could happen, rather than trusting God. Faith and fear are opposite. This man had doubt. He obviously had some faith. He brought his son to Jesus. He was looking for Jesus. He had heard that Jesus could do something. He had some level of faith, but he's still wrestling. "Lord, if there's anything you can do, if you can do anything, please help me." And Jesus, it reads like a stern rebuke. What do you mean, if I can? And I don't think that's how you're supposed to read this. Everything is possible, he says, to the one who believes. See it as an invitation. Lord, if you can do anything and solve my problem. And Jesus would say, what do you mean, Rohan? If I can. All things are possible if you believe. And then my response, like this dad's response, is, well, I want to believe, but if I'm honest, I'm still doubting. I've got enough faith to come here. I got enough faith to come to church. I got enough faith to open my Bible. I got enough faith to put this podcast on today, but I still don't feel like I've got enough faith. I'm still doubting. And that's okay. Jesus isn't against that. He is actually acknowledging that. He says, help me overcome my unbelief. So his faith is acknowledging that he doesn't have doubt, but it's also acknowledging that faith actually comes from God in the first place. So if I haven't got enough faith, if I'm doubting, I can say, God, I don't have enough faith for this. I need more faith. Increase my faith, Lord. Lord, give me more. I trust you. And cry out to you, Lord, help me overcome my unbelief. And Jesus responds to that because that's an authentic prayer. It's not a perfect prayer. It's not I should be right, mate. Everything's going to be okay. It's not like perfect. I don't have to worry about anything. It's coming from the deep anguish of a dad who's tormented by worst case scenario about seeing his son suffer. And yet Jesus understands the authenticity of that and he responds to that. He responds to the authenticity. So where are you at today? You don't have to have a perfect, polished faith, prayer life that has it all together. Jesus responds to authenticity. I've had plenty of times where I've gone, God, I can't see a way out of this situation. I feel like I'm swamped. I don't know what the future holds. What's going to happen in this situation? It seems like it's all messed up, Lord. I want to believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. And I have found time and again that when I've had that attitude, God has come through for me. God has responded to me and given me a peace. And ultimately, the problem has maybe it's taken some time for the storm to go away, but it has gone away. And in the meantime, I've experienced a peace because I trusted God enough to say, God, I'm struggling with this. Help me. It's totally fine to say, Lord, this is hard. Help me with my unbelief. God responds to that authentic prayer. May you pray authentically today. God bless you. Talk to you tomorrow.